This is my package that I got from Gideon, and I'm Gideon to get it. And I haven't opened it. I've had this, I was looking at my order. I've had this package for a year, I'm sad to say, because I was waiting to get that transparent case. I have my old Commodore 64C case, but I didn't want to use that. So here it is. Now I don't know a lot about, this is the Commodore 64 Elite and Ultimate Elite, I should say. And it's tied down. I've never seen that. I've got it tied down. And in this package. It's really tied down. Okay. I'm just going to open it up a little bit to unveil it. I've had this for over a year now. Oh, this is beautiful. So what I'm going to do now with this video, I plan on hooking this up, powering it up, making sure it works outside of the case, of course. Last thing I want to do is throw it all into the case and turn it on and it doesn't work. Here's the little power adapter. Love it. And I don't even know what these additions are. I will dig into that later. And then it has this little ribbon cable. And I am learning this as I go. I'm not sure what this ribbon cable is for. It might be for the keyboard. Which brings me to, I know I need to use a keyboard for this thing, so I have a spare bread bin that I am going to salvage this keyboard. I just have to pop these screws out. And so that's part of what I'm working on. Oh, and check this out. I think I ordered this. I don't think this came with it. With the little Commodore 64 Elite that goes on the case. One thing that I wanted to order, and which I didn't, was the LED strip. There's like a little LED strip, which is kind of neat, which I do want to get, and probably have to order that separately and get that on there. Now I'm gonna have to use the website because this thing did not come with any instructions. You would think for $200+ that would come with an instruction manual. But so looking at the hardware, I'm not a hardware person. I don't know what all the plugs are for and everything, so I have to look at the manual, try to figure out how to piece this together. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say with this keyboard here, it has a ribbon cable, and it looks like it will plug. Looks like it plugs in right here. And if that's the case, that's all I really need. That, my power adapter, and plug this bad boy up. Okay, so it plugs on the side just like a typical Commodore. So it's just that keyboard, plug it into a TV and see if it works, or a computer monitor. Alright, I've went ahead and just transported it into my workspace area in my desk, and I plugged in the power right here in the power strip. It's down there, And the next thing, I guess, before I actually plug the power in, I'm just going to plug in the video into this. Okay. I got the keyboard plugged in. If it's going to work, I'm going to have to turn it upside down so I can press the keys just to see if it actually works. I don't have the LED on the keyboard plugged in. Let me see. Just so it kind of looks like a Commodore 64. And we'll go ahead and put the power into it. I'll turn the monitor back on, the TV back on. Okay, right now we have a black screen, or blank screen. And the power button's right here. Okay. Not sure what I got going on there. Very weird, very weird. Let me power it off. Okay, let me investigate that. All right, in the past, I believe the problem was having to do with PAL versus NTSC, and I think there's a setting in the settings to change that, but I need to be able to see the screen. So in the past, I've worked with my Amiga 500, and the only solution I could get to display that PAL system was with my 1902 monitor. So I dug my monitor out, and I'm gonna try this cable here that I found laying around, and I'm gonna try this again with the 1902 monitor. So let's give that a shot. I'm gonna plug this in, turn on the TV or the monitor, and now let's turn on there we go. Oh, it's not. I can see the screen. Let's see if my keyboard works. Welcome to the Ultimate 64. Sorry that the flickering here. Fun. Okay, so I'm gonna hit the power one more time. Anyway, all right, I figured out, I think you hit Shift F1, which is your F2 menu, then go into Ultimate 64 specific settings, then go to system mode. There you can switch to NTSC. Then you can hit NTSC, escape out of it, escape out of that, save, yes. Okay, now see the flickering's gone? Let's go back in, Shift F2 to make sure the setting's stuck. Yeah, now it's on NTSC. Oops. All right, so I just transferred this into here from the other room, and I'm going to turn it on. Pushing this button in. We have a weird sound coming out. The display looks good, but the sound is weird. All right, more troubleshooting is required. So we have a good display here, but when I hook in the second audio channel, it makes the noise. So I guess we don't need that for now. That's how I've narrowed it down, was something to do with that. I guess it's gonna work off that single channel. I gotta figure that part out. Okay, problem solved. The problem was I was using this device, and I guess it's not compatible with the Commodore 64 Ultimate Elite. I had bought this so that I could take the output of the video and then convert it to either these RCA inputs or to S-video, which was what I was really going for. But I had in my arsenal, I didn't realize in my toolkit, I had a cable that already had S-video built into it, which is what I hooked it up. I hooked it up to there and then hooked that into the monitor, and now that's working. So now I can dig in further onto this journey. Alright, so this is the Ultimate64 Elite, and I don't know much more about it than the last time I was on video here. And these are the parts that I ordered for it, a couple of the parts, which is the user port add-on, which is this one, and then the speaker. I'm not sure why I bought this, but it was the speaker that's built in, and it goes right here on the motherboard. And then the user port was perplexing to me because the user port is right here on the Ultimate 64, and I was just wondering, how is this going to plug in? It's male to male. I'm like, wait a minute, that's what this cable here that was included was for. So I still have some questions about that, but at least this has the female ends on it, and I can plug it into here. I can plug it into the motherboard and then put the user port where it should go. Now the question is, how does it mount? Oh yeah, one of the things that I noticed about this, and I don't know anything about this motherboard, very, very little about this motherboard, but I will say that when I plugged in the video right here, it's very, very solid. This thing is a solid board. It's not chintzy. Alright, I've zoomed ahead a little bit in my video on my build here, but I realized I hadn't gone over what the components are on the motherboard, and I want to go over that now. So as you can see, there is a little battery here for the firmware, which I'm assuming is for the clock and all your settings that you have on the Ultimate 64 Elite. There is a USB 2.0 port right here, an internal one that you can use and just have your software loaded on there. The motherboard includes a Wi-Fi chip, which I don't know if it's been implemented yet in the firmware. And then kind of going across here is the main CPU for this motherboard. Basically the FPGA software is on that CPU. It's really tiny when you look at the size of the board. And as I kind of go across here, you have these ZIF sockets, which you can plug in your own SID chips, although there's a built-in SID on, or some sort of SID emulation, which I hear is pretty good. You can plug in real SID chips into this, or you can plug in emulated, or what do you call, fabricated ones like the Swin SID or ARM SIDs. You have the LED strip, which is for the those LEDs that you can plug in. The one that came with my build only has the two pin LED, and it doesn't plug into there, so I can't control it from the software. Mine plugs into the user port, which is right here. The user port it's not located, normally the user port is over here where these components are, and I'm kind of wondering why it's not. I don't know why they designed it this way, but I did purchase mine with the user port extender, so you can use this cable here, this ribbon cable, and kind of put your user port wherever you want within your build. Next up is the keyboard attachment. I have a keyboard plugged in, which is, I unplugged my keyboard just so you can get a better look at the the pins coming up. And then there's a J-tag attachment here and then a J-tag over here. And my understanding is that that's if you're trying to troubleshoot the actual motherboard itself. You can plug in a separate device for that. Then on the right side of the Ultimate, you have the joystick ports 1 and 2, and you have the power on and off, and the power where you actually plug in the power adapter right there on the far right. Looking at the back side, you have the female connectors here. I'm trying to get it to focus for the cartridge, so you can plug in cartridges right here. You have your video out and your serial port for your disk drive on these two adapters right there. You have your tape device support, and then right here, these pins, this one and this one, are for this optional device you can purchase, which I don't know why I got this, but it's a little speaker thing, and those plug in right there, right into those pins, which I don't have plugged in just yet. Then on the far right, you have your HDMI, you have an Ethernet port, which would be interesting to look at, and you have 2 USB ports right there that are available that you can plug in devices to. These STD tape header right here, these pins, I was looking at the manual and it said basically it said it's for SID purists that don't want the output from the SID chips to be processed by the motherboard. You can attach a 3.5mm jack to these pins. And I don't know much about it, but I was just reading about that on the website. So that is the entire motherboard. And if you look at it, you get the overhead, it's about the same width as the original Commodore 64 motherboards. It's just, it doesn't have anything in this area right here. It's all in a smaller section. But I will say about the build quality, if you look at it, this is just built so solidly. You can plug in devices here not having to worry about wiggling or anything. I would still be careful with it, but anyway, that is the Ultimate 64 Elite, and this is version of the motherboard 1.4a.